Welcome everybody. Today is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. And we just had our NVIDIA earnings at the bell, which we're going to get into in just a few minutes here. I see we got Soon in here, my boy. Glad he's doing good. Hopefully we get some more in here in the coming minutes. But regardless, let's go ahead and start with the usual, the S&P 500. So obviously, the daily chart has just been going up, taking a breather, going up, taking a breather for the last few months, as you could see. When we move over to the weekly, however, we start to see some signs here, and I'm not calling a top I'm not here to predict what's going to happen perfectly, but just looking at the technicals on the weekly RSI, we're pushing 66 on the S&P 500 right now. As well as our weekly BX trender is starting, as of the end of July, it's just starting to really try to hold on down here, as you guys can see. So again, this is the weekly chart. The monthly is still perfectly fine. As you can see, we had that wick from April. But for this situation, I feel like looking at the weekly chart, obviously we're 2 days away from the weekly close. So we'll just have to wait and see how we close for this week. But for the S&P 500, it's getting up there, boys. It's definitely getting up there, at least short term. So, like I just mentioned, over the next few weeks, we want to be on top of the weekly charts. We want to be prepared because, again, I'm not saying that there's a top or anything, but we want to be on our toes, especially as the RSI is starting to push. We're heading into, historically, seasonally, a bad month in September in just a few days. So we want to keep that in mind as well. So same thing with the triple Qs here. Actually, even more you could see on our weekly BX on the Qs compared to the S&P. This could be an early sign of a tech rotation, like I've been saying for the past month and a half, with rotation names in mind, such as Berkshire Hathaway, which now the weekly BX has just flipped for the second week in a row, as you guys can see. So, technically speaking, this was a great time. Berkshire made one more low from the 2025 low, made a new low of the year, came back up 30 points. So this is just one rotation target that I've been saying for a long time, and I know a lot of you have been, paying attention, so that makes me happy. But as you can see, another rotational target that we can have in mind is the IWM Russell 2000 Small Cap ETF. Now, looking at the weekly chart, it looks much stronger than the NASDAQ and the S&P. And, obviously it's about, $5 away from the all-time high here. So just two ideas. If you don't know what the Russell 2000 is, it's basically like similar to the S&P, except for it's 2,000 companies that are worth $5 billion or less. So it's very small companies. And, obviously, as we head into the rate cuts, that's going to benefit the small companies the best. So, just another idea. But, like I've been saying, guys, we want to be on top of this because if and when this market does start to come down a little bit towards the 200-day moving average, right around 590, it's about $40, $50 cushion here. So, we just want to keep that in mind. Obviously, the 50-day has been respected. I would say when we lose the 50-day, that's really a sell signal combined with, the BX trender. So just a couple tools that we could use, as these next couple weeks unfold and we head into September, which, like I just mentioned, is seasonally a weak month. So let's just keep that in mind. Let's be smart, And like I said, let's keep our rotation targets in mind. As you guys can see, like I just said, Berkshire is starting to flip. Well, not starting to. It did last week, and now we're getting the second week in a row of continuation. And obviously you see that on the price chart with a $30 bounce. So it's really that simple, guys. We try not to make it too complicated. Looking at the Dow Jones, obviously it's crushing it. Looks a lot better than tech right now. The monthly's just starting to flip green, so we'll see at the end of August if that stays green. Right there. So let's head into the Magnificent Sevens. First and foremost, we have Google, which just made an all-time high today. Not today, excuse me. At the beginning of this week. Or was it the end of last week? No, it was the end of last week right here. And then we had a continuation to about $210. So obviously, ever since Google flipped back in May right here, that was your go signal to start going long, whether it was 150, 160, 165, whatever. You get the point here, boys. So Google, as you can see, the RSI on the weekly is starting to push 68. You guys see it, right? 68. Now, historically, if I go back a couple years, go back to 2020, 2021, the highest the RSI has gotten was about 80, 84. So let's just keep that in mind as we head into September. I'm not ruling out a pullback, but at the same time, you never know what we're going to get in this market because we haven't even cut rates yet. So Google starting to look pretty damn good, but I wouldn't be shocked if it comes back and tests the 50-day about 185 eventually, but you never know. Apple. Obviously, we've been patient with Apple for a while. They had the earnings fake out here and then the massive run following Tim Cook's visit to the White House. So on the weekly here, still strong as ever. Apple's looking damn good, boys. And when in doubt, you just zoom out, like I've been saying for a long time. When you have a company that's printing $100 billion a year and they're buying back $100 billion in stock a year, it's going to create a strong floor in the stock, and it's going to boost the EPS. So, as you can see, it's putting in a floor better and better every year. And this is what Apple does. It's a turtle, but it will make money. So, Apple looking pretty damn good. Target short term, the daily is trying to curl here a little bit, so we could get some pushback at one more high, but I am expecting this 215 level to be tested. But, again, if it doesn't happen, I won't be too shocked considering Apple's been negative most of the year. People forget that. It was minus 20, 30% down here for a while, guys. So let's not ignore that. But yeah. So Amazon is looking pretty good. Weekly RSI is still at 59 for Amazon, which obviously it does have some room compared to Google. The monthly, we've had, barring any bad sell-off, we will have 2 months in a row once we finish the month. I would say Amazon's looking pretty good. The weekly is kind of right now, as you could see on the BX Trender. It just kind of fell off ever since the end of July, similar to the Qs. But we want to keep that in mind. We want to, like I said, 15 minutes ago, we want to be on top of this as we enter September. So, Tesla, this is one of the better looking Mag 7s right now. Obviously, we had that whole feud at the beginning of June, which caused a pullback to like 270, 280 around here. So, the BX had a nice bear trap, which, again, the BX Trender is not 100%, guys. Nothing is 100%. I don't care what analysts say. Nothing is 100%. Because we had a flip here, and it was a complete bear trap on Tesla. Complete. So, and then obviously the following month, 4 weeks in a row of just beautiful. So Tesla, we're looking at a $500-600 stock in the near future. I've been saying it for a while. And yeah, I hope people take advantage. If you got balls and you can hold this stock, you know, this is not one that you want to be on the sidelines for. That's all I'm saying. So Tesla coiling very, very nicely. So we'll see. Microsoft is finally starting to cool down, as we've been saying and expecting. I mean, at this point, you know, it just lost the 50-day moving average on Microsoft, so we want to keep that in mind. We also want to keep in mind that we have 2 continuous weeks in a row of the BX trender on the weekly going down. So historically, we could have some more downside. You know, we could come down to 450. We could come down to 420. You know, we don't know. Because Microsoft and Meta are in completely different cycles than Apple and Tesla, for example, which are both relatively low. We have Meta that's just been an absolute rocket the last couple of years, from $80 a share all the way to almost $800. So we want to keep that in mind. The BX trender is about to flip red also, as you guys can see here on Meta. So I would personally keep Microsoft and Meta, you know, off my trade list, at least for the longs for the near future. There's just better setups, and, you know, we have them right in front of us. So Meta, kind of, if you ask me right now, but to each his own. All right, now NVIDIA is at post-market 175.96, basically flat, I would say. Wait, what is it? -2%, all right? -3%, sorry. -3% after hours. But they did not include their guidance, their China guidance, which I think threw investors off initially when the report came out, because we had a nice 4 to 6% dump at first. And then they announced a $60 billion share buyback. So NVIDIA is definitely, you know, definitely starting to spook investors. I don't know why, because their growth is so exponential. And, you know, barring any China regulation, I really, you know, I think it's a grand slam stock. You know, and it doesn't mean we're not nearing a near-term top. We have a weekly RSI of 70, as you guys can see. But it doesn't mean we can't go higher. The weekly RSI has gone all the way to 90, guys. So, again, no indicator is going to tell you like a crystal ball. They're all different tools that you have to mix together. But, so NVIDIA, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the 50 is around 168, the 50-day moving average. The 200-day moving average is sitting about 138. So, you know, we want to keep that in mind. And again, they did not include their China guidance in today's report. I don't know why, but again, I think it spooked investors at first. But from a weekly and a monthly perspective, I mean, NVIDIA is fine. Obviously, it's gone parabolic the last few months. So we want to, like I said, we want to keep an eye on how we finish the week here. And that will give us some clues. But yeah, does anybody have anything specific we want to take a look at? I know you guys probably have some stuff. I'll just mention really quickly, Bull Weeble has earnings tomorrow. I've been holding a swing position for a couple weeks now at about $14.10 average, like right about here. So I could have trimmed multiple times, which is pretty frustrating, but nonetheless, I'm holding out, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Chipotle. So Chipotle is trying to build a base. Obviously, we have a nice gap here. So this would take us back to $51. But again, it could make another low first into the 30s, which would be a tremendous opportunity. And right now, the weekly BX trender is indicating that might happen. So, Chipotle could make another low into the 30s. Could be a final low, final flush. But if you want to be extra safe, you wait for the monthly higher low continuation. But, I mean, yeah, the weekly 200 moving average for Chipotle, it's sitting right at it. So this isn't a bad time to build a position, in my opinion. But just know it could make one more low, and it probably will make one more low into the 30s. So just expect it. Let's take a look at TEM. I believe we looked at this a while ago. Okay, so TEM is starting to pull back. You have the 50-day moving average at $64. You have the 200 sitting at $56. With the daily flipping red here. So we want to keep that in mind. The weekly is kind of just hanging in there. So again, we'll see how we finish the week. But there's not much data for Tempest yet. I mean, to use the weekly. So I would stick to the daily and the 4-hour, if anything. So, SoFi is very interesting because, oh God, I was staring at this stock a few months ago right here at $15 when it was breaking out. I just wish I took it, man. Frustrating. So obviously it just made a new high. Is it an all-time high? Nope. Not yet. Okay, so SoFi, all-time high is about 28 bucks. And this month we hit close to 26.5. So again, let's keep in mind, if we start to pull back a little bit first before higher, that would be perfectly healthy. You know. But I do like this name. BE. Oh, wow. This has gone parabolic. $20 to $50, huh? Wow. Just leaving gaps open like it's nobody's business down here. Look at this. Crazy, guys. I mean, personally, with weekly RSI 85, I mean, if you're in this name and you're not taking profit here, you need a nice slap from me, a nice little reality slap. It's not going to hurt, but take some profit. Take some profit. All right, Marvell. Wow, I haven't looked at this in a while, actually. What's Marvell doing? Okay. All right, so the weekly is kind of pulling back a little bit. Looks like it wants to build a base for a little bit. It's kind of just respecting this area, as you could see. So keep an eye. It's sitting right at the 50-day here. So closing back above it would be a nice sign. And yeah, we have recent highs about 83. So, oh, they do have earnings tomorrow. Marvell has earnings. Wow. So that's Webull, Marvell, couple things. All right. Something to definitely look at tomorrow. All right, let's look at Robinhood. Ooh. All right, boys. It might be time for Robinhood to lose the 50-day moving average, which would not be good. Which would not be too good. Hey, listen, man, I'm just showing you what's in front of us, right? And that's what we're here to do. So, if you're freaking out, that means you're over-leveraged and you're over-positioned. So, if that's the case, again, slap in the face, slap yourself. Wake up. Back to reality here. This isn't fucking the gambling show. So, obviously, I don't need to say it. But not tomorrow. Friday, if we close like this, you want to be cautious. And if it starts to roll over, which it looks like it could, you have this area here that it has to hold. So if it doesn't hold this 90, low 90s area and it flushes lower, I can't help but see it go to 75 around the 200-day moving average, which is, oh, that would be too far in my opinion. I don't think it's going to the 200-day, but I could see it going around here, 85. But again, I'm not here to guess. We're going to take it week by week, but right now, Robinhood is screaming that the sellers are coming. So RBRK. So we got rubric. Oh, I went over the Russell, but I'll do it again. You see, I got you, bro. Wow, this is crazy. This is an interesting chart. So, wow. This is pretty weird. No worries, you see. It's all good. I'll show you it again. This is kind of like just a weird oscillation. It's just sitting for basically like 3 months. It's kind of just sitting here. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Rubric, if you get the higher low in the coming weeks, you could take a trade, but right now I would stay away until you have a clear breakout or at least a direction, recent highs. But the Russell 2000 we're going to take a look at here. Like I mentioned, this could be a rotation target similar to Berkshire Hathaway, which again, we called perfectly. It made a new low. It broke the April low and then just bear trapped everybody. And now we have our weekly BX trender giving us the go signal. So if you listened and you put some common sense a few weeks ago, congratulations. But again, this is a long-term stock. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, IWM, a rotation target. Definitely, it's very close to all-time highs, and the weekly is still very strong, EC, so just keep an eye as we go. $5 away from the all-time high. I mean, it's pretty inevitable if you ask me. So the Russell 2000, obviously with rate cuts also, small caps will benefit greatly because they could borrow at a cheaper price. And yeah, everybody's happy. So we're going to take a look at Ethereum and Bitcoin real quick before I hop off, because it's getting interesting. ETH made a new all-time high. And right now, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, because it's kind of just chopping up here in this range, kind of forming like a diamond pattern. So we're going to have to wait a little bit and see with Ethereum how it reacts up here. If it just wants to continue, which would be sick, but hey, we don't know. We never know. So Ethereum definitely looks better than Bitcoin, because when you look at Bitcoin, boys, the weekly BX has been red for 2 weeks in a row. So Bitcoin compared to ETH right now, they're in two completely different cycles, in my opinion. And if you're a Bitcoin holder, you want to wait, you want to accumulate on our dips, business as usual. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, you have stocks like BM&R with Tom Lee, which are taking a similar approach to MicroStrategy. So we'll keep an eye on BitMine here as it starts to bottom out. It's touching the 50-day, so it could respect it and bounce here. We don't know. We're going to let the price action do the talking, and we're going to chill. So that basically covers everything for this week. Right now I would stay away from Meta and Microsoft. Focus on Apple, Tesla, Amazon, and we'll see. We'll see as we head into the month of September, because like I said, historically, it's not a good month. So any last minute requests, just let me know. But I'm pretty much covered everything, covered the usual. Just again, boys, make sure you lock in Tesla to 400 tomorrow. That would be crazy, but definitely in the next few months, you will definitely be seeing a 4 in front of that name. So again, don't kill the messenger. I'm just here to take it week by week. But Tesla, don't say I didn't tell you guys so, man. I'm telling you right now. Telling you right now, man. But yeah, I appreciate you all stopping by. As always, we got 7 people here. It means the world. Love you guys for stopping by. Honestly, it really does mean the world to me. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend. Let's see how the next 2 days these candle closures happen. And yeah, so be good, boys. Be safe. Take it easy.